Welcome to Intoned.
Cheers.
After a little bit of an accidental break.
Yeah, you know, sometimes lives. Mm-hmm. Is that what the kids say? Lives?
Well, not the kids, that's what you say. Lives. Or maybe millennials.
I've never said that before.
Oh, why do you think kids say that?
I don't know. It sounded like a saying.
No.
Okay. Anyway, we have been reading. We just haven't been on for a little bit. But we are excited to come back and talk to you about what
we're back and better than ever.
Pages. I'm still warming up. But since it's been a month, we're gonna walk you through kind of the last month of reading and focus on some highlights that you might be interested in picking up before we get into our main topic.
I did think we could still do what's on our nightstand and then but what were our top picks for last month? So maybe all of the above.
Yeah, what I was going to say is for our what's on our nightstand is going to be what's been on our nightstand for the last
month.
Which normally is kind of normal because if I read 7 books at a time, it can take me a whole month to finish all of them. So, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. Do you want me to start with what I've already read or what I'm currently reading?
Doesn't matter. You can jungle them.
Let's jungle them up. Okay. I'll start with what I'm currently reading. I have 3 things. I'm finishing up listening to the New Age of Sexism, which is like going over like technology and AI and sexism. It's pretty good. I didn't like the start, but as it's moved along, I like it much better.
Do you know who it's by? I'll check for you.
Question.
Keep talking.
I have it on my story graph, but then so I have like an hour left of that. Yeah. And then I'm also listening to, in the last month, I've had a kick of listening to romantasy as I go to sleep because it's the type of story that like isn't engrossing enough.
It gives you good dreams.
But I can go to sleep and it totally reminds me that I wanted to tell you about my dream, not on camera.
Not on camera. Nobody else wants to hear your
not
dream.
On camera, but like I need to tell you my dream that I had last night because it was crazy. Anyway, sorry.
Speaking of romantasy.
No, it wasn't about romantasy. It was just a crazy dream. So I started a new one that I've been like seeing, and I thought actually I might like this one. I think it's called The Road of Bones.
Okay.
Maybe look up the author because I don't remember the author. Sorry.
Page.
And then I'm physically reading, I just started this morning, The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. And this one so far has started out pretty well.
Oh, The Road of Bones by Demi Winter. The library has been like advertising this to me hard on Living in Hoopla. It keeps showing up as like featured and recommended.
Oh, that's so interesting. I do think that so far it is pretty good. I think sometimes for me,
but it is a romantasy.
It is a romantasy, yeah. What I would say is like I'm not even going to talk about the last one that I was listening to. I do think it was good, but like sometimes for me, that like how they explain the world is very I don't love. Yeah, it's not the way that a good fantasy writer would explain the world. Yeah, it's just telling you. It's like their thoughts. Yeah, and then they're just telling you. And then the king does this, and then this person is saying this, and he's saying this because in this culture, we do this, and this, and it's kind of like,
okay, this is not natural.
Can you show me and not tell me? Yeah.
Gave a whole lecture on how to do this correctly.
Beside that, what I would say is that, like, it is an interesting story. I mean, I obviously, that I can listen to those types of things, and it's not going to ruin the story for me. I'm just aware that it's happening. So yeah, I've been listening to that, and then I just started The Wolf Den, which this one is quite good. And actually,
a cool cover, I gotta
weirdly, and I am not saying I do think this is well written. Yeah. So I'm not saying that it's not well written, but I am actually quite surprised that Starz has not made this into a show because it seems right up their alley.
I don't know anything about
this. Is
Starz.
about the Starz makes. I'm not actually. Maybe I shouldn't say my opinions on what types of show Starz makes, but what I would say is this book is about a brothel in Pompeii, and it is very much like women who are enslaved, but who are it's like about female friendship. It's about finding your freedom within a world that is
reclaiming your power.
Exactly. Very, very much so. And blah, 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 blah. Anyways, and it just seems like a very Starz show to me. I'm actually quite surprised that maybe Starz is trying to make it. I don't know. At first I thought Showtime, HBO. And then I was like, actually, no, Starz, because Starz is very much into the female-led historical fiction stories.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm pretty sure Starz did Outlander. They did the War of the Roses. You don't know what Outlander is?
No, I know what Outlander is. I didn't realize that was a Starz thing.
It's a Starz thing. Yes, in my opinion. In my opinion, Starz makes shows like that.
You don't know what Outlander is?
Yeah, I was like, are you living under a rock?
No, you told me about it however many years ago when I tried to watch it and was like, oh.
I don't like it.
Yeah, you told me about it and I don't like it way, and so I wanted to watch it to understand
I see why.
And I was like, I see.
I've actually tried to read that book a couple times because my sister said that the book is better, and I can't get into it for whatever reason. Yeah. Anyways.
Okay. Any other current nightstands?
No, those are the 3 that I'm currently reading.
Okay, I'll do my currents too before we go into top picks of the last month. Okay, so I, per usual, I'm reading too many books. Because I'm having attention span issues, which I think is just maybe a way of life for me now.
Yeah.
I'm reading The Infinite Country by by Patricia Engel, and don't be swayed away by it's a Reese's book club pick. It's a great book, and I think
sometimes she does have good.
She does pick some good books. She's got good editors on staff.
She definitely does. Sometimes have books. I'm like, that's a good book.
But yeah, this centers around some girls in a correctional facility in Colombia, and I picked it up because it's short, and I was intrigued by the line. But I'm reading it now, so I can't tell you about it. I literally just started reading this morning. Death Takes Me by Cristina Rivera Garza. This one is supposed to be like a literary crime novel. I definitely get the literary part of it because the first 2 pages I'm just like, I think it's going to be a good book, so don't get me wrong, but the first 2 pages are like, I want to make sure you know that I'm really smart and really philosophical. That's how I feel. And then third, I've been kind of slowly working on this, but There Are Rivers in the Sky. Definitely enjoying this one. Kind of a all along timeline from, I think, goes back to the city of Nineveh and the Epic of Gilgamesh to 2018. And it's following stories through a drop of water from this river. And yeah, so the motif it's a motif, but the storytelling is very good so far. And then I think I'm listening to a book. What am I listening to, Paige?
I don't know.
I'm listening to something.
Well, you think about that. Yeah. I forgot to say what the Road of Bonds is about.
Oh,
in case you wanted to read it. It's like a Nordic-inspired romantasy. And I think the synopsis is a girl she has to go on to the Road of Bones because something tragic happens at the beginning, and in that moment, secrets about herself is unveiled, and then she meets what is it called? A gang?
I thought you were going to say a missionary.
No. She meets a gang, not missionary.
Emissary?
Mercenary group.
Missionary from gang.
That I think capture her. I'm not sure that hasn't happened yet because I just started it last night. And then, enemies to lovers, blah, 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 blah.
All the fun.
Anyways, did you find what you
I did find. So I'm listening to a self-described this way, YA LGBTQ historical romantasy.
Oh.
It's called When Tides Held the Moon by Venessa, Vida, Kelley. And the way they market it, their comp is The Greatest Showman meets The Shape of Water.
Oh, that makes me not want to.
That made me want to watch it. Watch it. Read it.
I do not like The Greatest Showman.
I've never seen The Greatest Showman, but I did love The Shape of Water, and I thought it was an intriguing concept.
Is that that's the Spanish director's one? Oh yeah, that was fine. But The Greatest Showman.
But the premise of it is, and for some reason I can do romantasy if it's YA. it's like more palatable for me.
Yeah.
It's not really fantasy, but it's set in like late 1900s, New York City, Puerto Rican immigrant who's working as a blacksmith and ends up burning his hand on a commission and goes to work for the carnival on Coney Island.
Oh.
And the commission was what he was making for them, which was basically a cage. They catch a merman, and it's going to be part of their sideshow, and he falls in love with the merman.
That's why they call it The Greatest Showman, because that's about a circus. That's why.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then obviously the Shape of Water is this creature from the sea. So it's exploring like sexual identity, immigrant identity, and then, I mean, it's not just like a boy loving a boy, because the merman is not a man. It's a merman. Anyway,
there's a different species.
I haven't finished it, but I'm enjoying it. It's like I needed something to just kind of after work. So yeah. Should we, since the last month, should we do like highlights of the last month? Just like how many should we do?
Just your highlights, whatever those are.
Okay, that could be a bajillion books.
It's not a bajillion.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I was reading a trilogy called The Founders Trilogy by Robert Jackson Bennett. And the first one is called, I think, The Foundry. I started that a while ago.
Foundryside.
Okay, thank you. So I was like, so I don't know what it's called. But that was quite good. I finished it yesterday morning.
It's by Robert Bennett Jackson.
Just wait, I said that.
Wow, I just blacked out. I totally blacked out.
Thanks for your input. I just said that. You got the name right. You just didn't. I had already said the author.
Oh, okay. Cool.
But it's okay. So I would recommend that. I would say like his Tainted Cup, which we've talked about before, is a like Sherlock Holmes mystery one, and this one is like a heist one.
And
what I would say is his like magic system in that is AI coded to me, because it's I can't describe it, so read it. Anyways. My brain is like...
Yeah, we're here to describe them just enough to make you want to read them.
Exactly.
This book is, I can't describe it, go read it.
Yeah, exactly. I did really like it. I did think each book was quite good. And then I had two contemporary literary fiction novels that I read that I thought were really good. I think both have been, well, one for sure has been nominated for the Women's Prize, and that's Moderation by Elaine Castillo.
I mean, it depends on,
I don't know.
Depends on her origin.
She's Philippine.
Okay, Filipino.
Oh my God, what is going on?
We're doing good. It's gonna be a great episode.
Anyhow. This book was very, very good. I highly recommend.
Yeah,
it's about a moderator.
She's
moderating for VR companies. And it was so good. I loved it.
You've been on like an AI kick, reading nonfiction.
Well, that was I've been on a kick of reading a fiction book that's similar to a nonfiction book that I'm reading.
That. Okay. Yeah.
And then I read Yesteryear, which I know has been making the rounds on.
I don't know anything about it.
Book 2, but that one's called by Caro Claire Burke, and I think it's her first novel. I could be wrong. But this is about a trad wife influencer, and like the premise of the book is, if you start with her, it's in her mind. It's first person narration. Is that what that means? And then randomly she's like sent back to the actual 1800s. Sent back, you don't know. That's part of the mystery.
Who knows?
And what I would say is, I don't think this was a perfect book by any means, but I do think that it was, I would recommend it for people to, it was like, in terms of like, I think there's like thriller aspects and there's a mystery aspect, and I don't think that all of the things that she brought up are explained in a way that totally makes sense to me by the end. But I think like in terms of like who this woman is and like the type of woman she is so interesting, because she's like very religious, incredibly judgmental, constantly projecting her self-hate onto everyone. She thinks she's better and smarter than everyone, but the more her life becomes like starts to unravel, the more she is projecting onto the people around her about how awful they are. And at one point, even her mother is like, because the only person in this book this woman seems to like and respect is her mother. And at one point, the mother's like, "Why are you so mean? Why is it so hard for you to just be kind?" Just give you a sense of who this woman is. So I'd say those are my top, hits. Oh, I also read Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell, and I thought that was very good if you like a romance. Yeah. So there we go.
I just love
I'll leave it at that.
So
yeah. And I read. I'm sorry. I read Giovanni's Room. I read a lot of really good books.
I think
by
you
James
talked about
Baldwin.
that.
That one I was reading it. I finished it. It's
okay.
fantastic. So
highly recommend.
Highly recommend. It was so good. I liked it better than If Beale Street Could Talk personally, but it's more my type of story.
Do you want to give a short what it's about?
It's about this American living in France, and he falls in love with a man named Giovanni. He is not, he doesn't know he's gay just yet. He's had a few...
Not Giovanni or the man who falls in love?
The man who falls in love with him, whose name escapes me.
That's fine.
And it's kind of about their love affair, as well as him kind of just, reckoning with who he is as a person. But, yeah, it was really, really good. Highly recommend.
I read that one. I should read it. I'll pick that one up. Or did you buy it?
Yeah, I have it. You
I'll
can
borrow
it.
That's it. Add it to my CDR. So I will say I didn't read a whole lot this last month. I have so many excuses, but I lost a week of the month to migraines, which meant I was only listening to books. But during that time, which says something, if you can listen to a book while you're in pain and enjoy it. So I listened to Catherine Arden's trilogy. The first book is The Bear and the Nightingale, and that came out in 2017, I believe. And I had picked up this book before, I think in physical form, and started reading it, and it didn't bring me in. But listening to it, because it is a fantasy based on Russian folklore, which I think folklore always lends itself to audio, because it's meant to be told aloud. It's meant to be passed on.
I actually don't like reading it. I like listening to it.
I mean, maybe that was the thing. So listening to it, I loved it. Specifically the first two books. I read all three this month. The first two books I think were my absolute favorite. The third book lost me a little bit, but I think it might just be, it was a little more focused on leading up to this grand battle, and I think we talked about this. I get a little when it gets into battle scenes.
That was the last book for the Foundryside trilogy. I was the start of it was just the first chapter is just a big battle.
We both had trilogies, so we were reading alongside each other.
And I was like, I don't care. It was 60 pages. So I was like, this is so long. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, I really liked it. The characters throughout it, in the first book, the main character is a young child girl. I was trying to think of what you would call, I think she's 12.
Young child girl.
So she's a child, and she's a young girl. She's both.
Okay, yeah, she's a preteen. That's what you call them.
Works in schools. Anyway, but you grow up with her. The first book, she goes from that to adult, or at least to 19-year-oldhood.
Oh, wait. In the first book, you're saying she's a preteen?
Yeah.
And then, it goes to adulthood. Sorry, I don't know why, but I thought you were saying in the third book she was 12, and my brain was like, wow, that's weird.
It's a Benjamin Button story. But yeah, you get to see kind of her roots and then watch her develop as a woman in a very fantasy folklore-y world, which normally in folklore, I feel like you only get a very set age from someone. Even if they age in the folktale, their character is kind of the same. This person does change quite a bit, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So really loved that. I also listened to Severance.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Wait, have we talked about this? Never mind. I don't know if I know this book.
By Ling Ma. It was written in 2018. Somebody I know had read it before, and I'd been meaning to read it. So it published in 2018. It's about a pandemic decimating the world.
Right. Okay. I always mix it up with something else.
With the TV show?
No, I think I'm messing it up with a new sci-fi book that people keep talking about called Resurgence. Oh. I always get those mixed up in my head.
It was interesting. I will say I listened to this at the end of my migraine, and so I did not
like it.
No, I didn't. I just didn't take it all in.
But
I found it entertaining. It's the main character, it's kind of going between her pre-pandemic life and then kind of where she's at now. And the pandemic leads to apocalypse, It's not just we all survived a pandemic
Mm-hmm.
and had a little bit of apocalypse. Anyway, I enjoyed it, but I would say the Catherine Arden trilogy was definitely my favorite reads from the last months.
Yeah.
I read a bunch of other little things that I was just kind of
Yeah. Okay, what is today's episode all about, Brenda?
Okay.
Please lead us in.
So I've been wanting to do this episode for a while and made Paige read the 2 books I had already read. Today we're going to talk about 2 very different books that are written about / inspired by ish. We'll get into that. A historical event, or historical period, surrounding events that happened to a community living on Malaga Island off of Maine, and a forced eviction of Black people living on the island, and the horrible events around that. But these 2 books, one is a children's book, and it's called Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy by Gary Schmidt, and then the other is an adult, very small, slim book called This Other Eden by Paul Harding. We'll talk a little bit about each, but they both, this one is definitely, I would say, a little more historical research went into it, the inspired by, and this was this person read 2 articles and decided it gave him an idea and he wrote a book. But all to say, I thought it was really interesting to see, oh wow, like a children's book versus an adult book, how they handle the topic, what you get from both. Both books, I don't think this won, but this was shortlisted for the Booker, was also a finalist for the National Book Award. And Lizzie Bright won the Prince and the Newbery. So I'm going to give you a little synopsis of this. Paige will introduce you to the other book. I did it backwards. Paige is going to give you a little synopsis of this. I'll introduce you to the other book.
I thought you wanted to talk about the actual historical event first.
Oh yeah, so I mean, just a small little bit. I haven't done a deep dive into the history of this, so I don't want to go too hard into it, but basically there was a community that post-American Civil War took up residence on Malaga Island, which is a little island off of the coast of Maine. So around 1865, somewhere in there, and they had a whole flourishing community, and it was a freedman and his wife, who happened to be a white Irish woman, and their descendants that populated this island. And by 1912 is when they were forcibly evicted from the island because the white community living on the coast of Maine thought they were a blight and were preventing them from having a tourist capital attraction. They wanted to turn the island into something, and they had all these stereotypes about who the island people were. Part of that forced eviction is they made a argument that some of the people, well, one, that they were degenerates and were, morally terrible. I'm sure that's how they said it. And then the other is that some of them were clinically insane, and they moved them into a insane asylum at the time.
House for the feeble-minded.
Thank you. I was like, I know that's not what they said. So
Which is slightly, it's well, never mind. I was going to say it's just a different connotation when you sit here, the house for the feeble-minded. That actually doesn't, that's not for insane people.
That's true. That's true.
A different type of person.
Feebly minded, yeah. So I'm sure we'll touch on more of these a little bit as we go forward.
Well, I'll just say that there only some of the community were sent there, and there was only Black people that were sent to the house of feebly-minded. So. Yeah,
because the community was mixed race.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to introduce Lizzie Bright?
Sure. Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy is about Lizzie Bright.
And the Buckminster Boy.
Yeah. The Buckminster Boy is a son of a pastor who is living on the mainland. He's white. And Lizzie Bright is living on the island, and they meet one day on a beach. I think she's clamming.
She's clamming.
Yeah.
She's rowed the boat over.
And what's his first name?
Nat?
No, it's with a T.
Turner.
Hates. He has just moved to this community, and he hates it. And they are very judgmental towards him. Everything he does is wrong. Yeah. he constantly feels like he's under a microscope. He's just like having a terrible time, and Lizzie is the first person he meets that he actually likes. And they form a friendship, and it's kind of the story of their friendship, as well as it is told mostly through his eyes. You do get some of Lizzie's point of view at the beginning, and you get some other point of views here and there throughout, but it's mostly told through Turner's eyes. And so he's kind of like seeing what's going on in the mainland. He's sort of privy to some of the conversations about what they want to do to these islanders, and like what kind of happens in the end in the story. And I say that this story is very sad.
Yeah, and well, as we discuss, we'll talk more about the events in that story, and how he managed it, but that's the synopsis. And also, one thing I want to call out about the 2 awards it won, because this is the nerd in me thought this was interesting. So the Newbery is like a big deal for children's writers.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of it,
So there you go. But it's dated back to 1921. And this goes to like all of children's books, so not specific age group, but all children's literature. It's like the ALA, American Library Association, has a panel that nominates most distinguished books in children's lit. And then the Prince is specifically for teens. So it won for overall and for teens. And the characters are 13.
Yeah.
So they're like preteen?
No, preteen is before teen.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
So 13 is a teen.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting, just knowing that. I personally didn't know that beforehand. Okay, and then we've got Paul Harding, This Other Eden. So this book is also about, in this book they don't reference it as Malaga Island. It's Malaga Island in Lizzie Bright, and it's off the coast of Maine. This is very much inspired by, and it's called Apple Island, and it's about this community that lives on Apple Island, who are all descendants from a formerly enslaved man and his Irish wife. So again, very much borrowed from the original story. This book is set a little earlier than when Malaga Island actually happened, 1792, which I think is where you got that from earlier.
That's when this starts? Maybe so.
And it's the story of this community. I mean, like the book title, This Other Eden, it paints the picture of this very, very interesting community, and how they live. There's 2 families and a couple individuals who live. One very memorable character is, let me get his name here, Zachary, there we go. Zachary Hand to God Proverbs is his name.
Yeah.
And he lives in a hollowed out tree. He has a little house too, but he primarily lives in this tree and makes intricate carvings from different scenes of the Bible around the inside of this tree. So the book is more focused on that community and told, I'm trying to think about, like, it's not first person, it's not told through like a close lens. It's really kind of just like,
you get many different perspectives.
Yeah, looking through this community view. And I'm like, is there anything else I want to say about that before we start talking? I feel like that's what you need to know. It's focused there, not a single narrator. And it ends with
the eviction.
Yeah. So also
similar
like
to
that
this.
one. Yeah. But much more time is spent on the island. So
yeah.
How, like, you reference Lizzie Bright as much sadder than this book. Like,
in my opinion, yeah, I thought it was, this book, how it ended, made me feel, I was much more, it was like very bittersweet, very sad. I felt for Turner because he had a lot of not great things happen to him at the end.
Yeah.
And his friend.
Should we do spoilers? I feel like we should.
Yes, so let's do spoilers.
We are doing spoilers. Okay, go ahead. So this is a much sadder book.
In my opinion. But I will also say that I was having a really hard time focusing on this book.
This one.
I was reading it at a time where my brain just was like not able to like really hone in. And so I was like reading and listening to it to try to get myself to focus. And I just had, this book had I had a harder time with this book than I did the Lizzie Bright book. And I think, and that's what I have to say. So maybe I do think this is sad as well.
I was gonna say,
I
I feel
wasn't
like,
as attached to these characters as I was these characters.
The Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy, I feel like, I mean, it's very character driven around the two main characters.
Yeah.
The mainland boy and the Malaga Island girl. And you really attach to them because it's really about, it's not, I think the difference in how I think of them as sad is like this centers around their friendship and the joy between them, and then like normal coming of age struggles. Like he's the son of a pastor and it's a very puritanical town, and they judge him and they don't want him talking to a black girl, and they don't want him communing with anyone from the island, and
everyone is literally always watching him, and the minute he does something they're telling his dad.
Yeah, so it really like brings you in at this very...
I also liked the characters better in this book. There's a lot of like different side characters that you get to know better and better, and I liked them better than these ones, personally.
And I think that's we're jumping around, but now, okay, I'm gonna go back to what we're talking about, which was the sadness.
Okay.
So what I was saying is this kind of leads up to the major tragedies kind of all happen at the end. And then this book, I feel like the general mood is very somber. Yeah, and yes, of course, the last end event is the eviction, but this is more a mix. It's like a bittersweet. I would call this a bittersweet symphony.
Okay.
Sorry, I had you. And this one, I would feel like, I mean, it's a children's book, but interestingly, because when we talk about children's lit, we normally end on hope.
I was actually very surprised at how this book ended. I was like,
it is
okay,
not. It truly honors.
I was quite, and I was telling Brenda that like I didn't love reading this book because it did feel like at the beginning, especially not towards the end, but at the beginning it felt a little bit like here's a scene, here's a scene, here's a scene, and I was just not totally engrossed because I don't read middle grade, and I don't think that I'm gonna like start reading middle grade. I wasn't like, oh yeah. But like at the end of this, I was like, okay, like I was like, I want to cry. I'm upset.
Yeah,
I am genuinely very upset about what's happening in this book right now, and it doesn't end in a way that doesn't like wrap it up in a nice bow. It's like this is the reality of the situation. The end.
The end. Yeah, and I think that's what I like about it because I do think like children need to be aware of the reality of history.
Yeah.
And at first when I started reading it, I was concerned. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be like a little white savior boy going to the island and he saves Lizzie?
He does try to save her, and he definitely does not.
And the little boy, so at the end when they're evicted, we said we're doing spoilers.
And actually that's part of it that makes it really fun is Lizzie is constantly telling him, do you really think these people are going to let you do what you're talking about?
Yeah, she knows.
She's like, you're an idiot.
Lizzie knows. I mean, obviously she's lived it, and you keep saying things, and she's like, no, man,
that's not the reality. Like, I love you. You're my friend, but you are living in a fantasy world if you think this is how it's gonna end. I guess we could probably say what's happening. I'm still acting like we're
spoiler right now. So at the end, the eviction happens, and he. Around the same time as this is happening and he's trying to like save them, he goes to the island, a whole task force, a whole group of people from Maine come after him, his dad. There's an incident, his dad ends up dying. He's pushed off a cliff by
the sheriff or something.
I mean, they're evicting people from the island because they want to build a hotel and they want to have tourism.
But even before that, he has one of his punishments is to go to this neighbor's house and play the organ for her. And through that, she's one of the people that's constantly telling on him, and then they form a friendship. And
eventually
Lizzie is invited too, and she knows this thing is going to happen, and she gives Turner her house, and Turner knows she's about to be
up to.
Oh, sorry, but I thought the dad dies after he gets the house. So, anyways, go on.
Anyway, so all I was gonna say was like the dad dies. This person who we now have been introduced also dies and leaves Turner the house, and the town
dies first.
The town tries to contest it because they want the house also for tourism.
Yes.
And they don't think a little boy should have it, and they try to convince his dad to give it up, and he's decided he's going to keep it because when the Malaga Island community is evicted, he wants Lizzie to have the house and give it to her. And And then the events unfold. The father dies. He has this plan.
Lizzie is like, you're an idiot. And then Lizzie disappears one day, and he finds out she was sent.
He's trying to find her, and not only did they evict him, but they came and they took. She was part of the group that were taken to the
house for feeble-minded.
Yeah, and he's still like, okay, we're gonna find her, we're gonna get her back, and this is where like it really ends on a sad note. Is that he finally, his mom is very sympathetic, and his mom goes with him to this place, and they ask for her, and she died. And the comment that
like the nurse is like, oh, people like that always die here. Yeah. They don't have like the constitution to be able to live through it, or something like that. Something very degrading, like
very
they always
degrading.
die here.
And it ends with this 13-year-old kid weeping above the ocean and remembering her. And in the author's note, I'm getting chills. This book is so beautiful, and this is why I know we don't want to talk about adult books, but I wanted to highlight it. The author notes that when he did his research, let me see if I can find the exact. I don't know why I'm making that noise. Here we go. 8 of the islanders were taken to the home for the feeble-minded, where they all quickly died. And one of them was a young girl, and they did not have a recorded name for her. And so when he wrote this book, he wanted to give a name to the unwritten name. Yeah. Which I thought was really beautiful. And I really liked that, the white saviorism, he was a little boy. Yeah. And it happened. And it doesn't end with any kind of and then everyone felt bad. I think when I did my research, the town finally apologized in
no, they have 2010? Apologized. Yeah, it was
late.
Yeah, oh yeah. No, yeah, they have a formally apologized, and I think they made restorations in some way. I don't know.
It was very late.
Don't quote me. I know they've apologized, but
so this one definitely ends tragically.
Yeah, I do think that it is a good story in terms of the white savior thing of he is a kid. Yeah, he doesn't know what he doesn't know. Yeah. And I think that is a helpful story for other kids who are are growing up in a mostly unicultural
and who have parents who society. Maybe are very fundamentalist,
and
religious.
Maybe exactly, I feel like this is a good book for kids to read in terms of understanding. He ultimately in this story, he just wants to save his friend. That's what he's thinking, because he's a kid. He just wants to save his friend.
And he is struggling with the things his dad is preaching.
Yes,
he's why are you swaying what you're preaching based on the town's needs?
Him and his dad have a very contentious relationship up until the end. As soon as he gets the house is when the dad starts being on his side. But until that moment, the dad is constantly being stop embarrassing me, you're embarrassing me.
He's trying to make an impression. I'm a new pastor. They could take my funding.
And it's not until he gets the house that he starts to say, I'm going to let my son do what my son wants to do with this house. When everybody knows that what he wants to do is.
And the reason is because the pastor finally acknowledges that he is doing the most Christ-like action of loving your neighbor. Okay, so
I was going to ask, isn't Lizzie Bright's dad also a pastor on our island? Yeah, so
her grandfather.
Her grandfather, so I just thought that was interesting. They actually both come from a religious background. But they have their families are very different, and he often goes to the island and hangs out with their family and speaks to how much love is in that household versus what he feels in his own household.
Yeah, definitely. So this other Eden,
we can tell which one I like better. Let's talk about that
one. I really liked this book, and I think for me as a writer, part of why I liked this book so much, the reason why I picked it up, I was in a bookstore, as one is, while I was traveling, and I picked it up, and then I saw in the back somewhere I read the description, and it doesn't say anything about Malaga Island on the description. I was like, oh, this reminds me of Lizzie Bright. Oh, and then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, this person was inspired, and that's what made me want to read it. What made me like it is the writing is beautiful. And I don't know if you
I did like the writing. Okay. Yeah.
It is.
I do agree with that.
It is poetry. It is lyrical, and as part of research for this episode, I was kind of reading up to see what the reception of this book was. It came out in 2023, so not too long ago. And
I read everybody liked it. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I just thought I was looking to see what the reception was.
Oh, okay.
And I read the New York Times had a poet did a review of this. He's a queer Black poet, and you should know that both of the authors of these books are white men. Just want to throw that out there. And in the review, he's kind of saying when he started reading this book, he got worried, like, oh no, this is going to be cast. They're going to cast the Islanders as the depraved, insane people that they were stereotyped to be, but they actually weren't. And he had a lot of concerns about where the author was going. But he also, by the end, said, he's like, this book, the writing is so beautiful. And I'm going to read this line from, I just thought it was really nice. He writes about the events not without complication. He doesn't try to simplify them. He doesn't try to, like, clean up the terror. But he says the book is a testament of love of kin, love of nature, love of art, love of self, love of home. Harding has written a novel out of poetry and sunlight.
Oh,
clearly the person who wrote the review was also a poet. It's beautiful. But I think that's what drew me to this book is the whole book. I mean, it's not beautiful events.
No.
It is brutal. But the language is so beautiful. And the opening scene, which I think is like, I just reread it this morning in preparation. The opening scene, so the whole book centers around the characters on the island, which is called Apple Island in this book. And it opens with some of the young people asking their grandma to tell them the story of the flood. And the grandma goes, okay, I'll tell you the story of the flood. And there's a story of when the island was flooded. And it is visceral, the way it's written.
Yeah.
And they like leave their house and the house is swept up.
Yeah.
And they
climbing up a tree.
Yeah, they're like, everyone climb into the trees to get above the water, and the water's rising above them, and they're holding the baby above, and they're like, it's really incredible.
Yeah.
And throughout the book, there is this reference to Noah and the flood in Bible times.
Yeah.
Which also, and not that Noah's mentioned, but there is, I mean, they're on an island, so you have this constant idea of the ocean surrounding it, and encounters in the beginning of this book when the water rises above them, they see a whale. They're like, oh, there's an island out there and a whale comes by. And throughout Lizzie Bright, there's this theme of a whale.
Yeah, so he has an encounter with the whale.
And
he looks in a whale's eye and he thinks, I could just reach out and touch you. And it's a very visceral experience for him. He constantly is reflecting on it. And like, I noticed immediately, because I read this first and then I read that. And I was like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, that's so similar. And then I listened to Paula Harding doing some talks. And he said he purposely did some like callbacks to Moby Dick, and I don't know if this author did the same thing, but to me in my head I was like, this feels very that's where my mind went. Have I read Moby Dick? No, I have not, but I did think of it. I thought Moby Dick, because I think like that's famously has a whale.
The encounters with the whale and Lizzie Bright with Turner, I feel like for me so Turner does not understand the religion of his father and does not like the way he's seeing it play out, and so to me his encounter with the whale is his spiritual awakening in whatever that means, because
he feels connected to the whale.
He feels connected, and he realizes how much bigger the world is and how much more one can be and do as this little 13-year-old boy. Anyway,
but I did think it was interesting that they both had that. I was like, what's going on here? Okay. It does kind of, I'm not that I would read Moby Dick, but it does kind of make my brain go like, what are the themes in Moby Dick that this specific story makes people think about, you know?
Yeah.
And do I know? No.
Yeah.
If you know.
Yeah, so this book focuses, again, going back a lot more on the island, and like the book opens, so it opens with the telling of the flood, and then it opens with the pastor from Maine, or not from Maine in this book, I can't remember what the name of the town is.
They're in Maine in this book.
They're still in Maine.
Yeah.
It's just a different town.
Yeah.
shows up, and they show up with like a phrenologist, a eugenicist, and a bunch of other doctors, and they're coming around with calipers, and they're measuring the skulls of the islanders, and they're using what was very much in vogue at the time, which was eugenics. It's
interesting in this book they also have Darwin's son, who took what his dad did and made it awful. Goes into eugenics and things like that, which is interesting. I didn't know. I don't know if that's true or not, if he really did that, but I was like, oh, that's interesting. I had no idea Darwin's son turned into.
And the town is trying to say we have like a medical reason to get rid of these. So throughout the book, it really focuses a lot on that. And I think this is what I wanted to say. I found one, and this is not like a formal review. This is some person's review who happens to be a historian, and they had a problem with the book. And their problem was knowing historians from like who focus on Malaga Island. They're like, this book is not a good representation of Malaga Island, and they didn't do the research, which he is very clear about. This book is not based on the historical event. He read 2 articles and it gave him an idea. Whereas I do feel like Gary Schmidt did do more research and really tried to incorporate that. And then the reason why they were frustrated with this book is they felt like this book gave into the stereotypes of the depravity of the people on the island, and it painted them more that way, with a lot of inbreeding.
Oh yeah, they do talk about that.
And those
actually
kinds
there
of
are
things.
a couple. Yeah, now that you say that, there are things in there that I was like, okay.
Why
is that happening?
Yeah, they there's a lot in here where they are painting that picture that fulfills that stereotype, which is not actually true. Historians are will argue against. I thought that was interesting, but in hearing him talking, he's trying to show it was not based on the actual historical events. And he created a picture. He had this image in his mind of who this family was, and he even talks about in interviews some of the characters were like leftover inspiration from his previous book that won the Pulitzer, Timbers.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't read that book, but
I liked it.
I listened to his interviews, and I think he's from the Northeast, and I went to undergrad in Maine, and he was talking about like very much like he wanted to create very Maine characters. And I do think he does do a good job of that. Like I will say, like having lived in Maine, there were definitely characters in here that I was like, oh yeah, I recognize his personality type. So I do think he accomplished that very well. And that, it was kind of like, he did say it was kind of a bridge from his book. Tinkers? Yeah. I mean, these are both incredible books, and I would say, read about Malaga Island. It is an interesting story.
Pay respects, because this is it's not that long ago, like 1912. Like people's grandmas lived during that time, and this was horrendous what the county or town did. And both of these books, though, I think are such interesting portraits. And what I'll say, whether or not this is a good representation, they both led me to actually look at history myself. And then aside from history, as a writer, these are both excellent in very different styles. Written books. Anything else you want to say?
No, nothing to add.
Okay. So we'll end there. This is our deep dive on Malaga Island with Paul Harding and Gary Schmidt. And I think next time we're going to do kind of not a similar, but we're going to be doing an author introspective. Wait, is that what they call it? Retrospective? Introspective? Okay, we're going to do an author deep dive and focus on a bunch of books from the same author. So get excited. It's going to be great. If you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. And we're almost closing out our season here. May is our last month before we are taking a break for the summer. And then we will rethink and come back to you better and brighter. Okay. Brighter. Now we are going to go take a walk and talk about the comments about these books that we did not say.
Just kidding. What?
Not really safe for podcast. NSP. Okay. that's all. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
The
goodbye.
end.